I'm Dimitri Douglas. I play offensive line here at Eastern Michigan. I'm from Saline, Michigan, and this will be my senior year.
You look at it last year, you alternate in that center role and were a big part of the offensive line. What was the biggest takeaway that you had from last year and everything on the offensive line of how it went?
I think the biggest thing transitioning to center last year was really kind of something happened late in spring ball, and then it carried over into camp. I think the biggest thing is just always being on your communication with all the guys and just making sure everyone's on the same page. It's not just you; it's your guard next to you, it's the tackle, it's tight end. Making sure everyone's constantly on the same page, and in environments like Louisiana and Arizona State, that can get very difficult. So gaining that experience was so valuable for me. And there were some good moments and there were some bad moments last year, and obviously we didn't finish the season the way that we wanted to. So we're trying to go and get that goal this year. So
when you look at the two different styles of quarterback you had, how does that change your play as a center? I mean, you look at it, Taylor was more the pocket guy that could run if he had to. And then on the other side, Austin, a guy who's a little bit more athletic, can run. How does that change when you're a center?
When you're a center, it doesn't really change much because a lot of the time you're working with somebody. So you're working with a guard, and you're never anticipating the quarterback moving. You're always trying to just keep the guy in front of you, for as long as he possibly needs. So if that's 4 seconds, if that's 8 seconds, if that's 6 seconds, whatever it needs to be, you constantly got to think, I got to keep this guy in front of me forever. And then when you see the ball cleared downfield, then you take off and go after the ball. So the styles are different, yes, but for us in the interior, it didn't necessarily change too much.
What are you most looking forward to about this year? Knowing you've got some changes on the offensive line, no City, Marcellus is transferred on, but you've got some continuity. You're back, Dooley's back. There are a lot of guys who've had playing time on the O-line. What are you most looking forward to?
I think that even though we obviously lost City to the NFL and Marcellus too, I think there's so many guys here that are just talented on this offensive line. You look at guys during spring ball and you're like, oh my God, this guy did this. This guy's doing this. Like, man, these guys are really good. And it's not just, the guys that are the 5 guys that are out there. It's the entire room. And I mean, you have so many guys that are just so athletic, and you have a lot of guys that could see playing time this year. So I think from that point of view, just being a leader in the room is like, wow, like this is the talent we have here now. It's certainly a lot different than where we were back in 2020 when I first got here.
Yeah, think back to when you arrived on campus. You transfer in, you hear about culture and team chemistry and all. Those are great buzzwords during recruiting, but then you actually get here and are part of it. What's the transition been like since your arrival?
I don't necessarily want to speak too much on, another team's culture, but the one thing I'll say is it went from more of a business to a family. Obviously family is one of the buzzwords you hear all the time, but it's little things. It's guys helping each other out when a car breaks down, or, hey, I need, a TV mounted on my wall. The fact that you can just throw it in a group chat with all of us in it, and it doesn't matter if you're talking, someone's in your position group or not, someone's going to be there to help you out. I think that is the best part about playing here, is that everyone there just has your back. And that trust shows itself when we play. So I think that part really, just that transition from, this is a family. We treat each other all the same. There's, you're not separated by position or age or anything like that whatsoever. I think is the biggest thing, and it's the reason why I think that, you look at a lot of the guys after they leave, a lot of guys that they played with will stand up at their weddings. I think there's a big reason to that from the family culture here.
When you look at it, what's been your favorite memory or moment that you've been a part of since you've been here?
Favorite memory? That's tough because there's been a lot of good ones. When I first got here, my first year, we had a road game against Western Michigan, and we had lost in that shortened season. We had lost 3 games right at the end of the year, and we were going into that game. We were 0-4, and Western was 4-0, and we just got out there and just got after it. And obviously, being from southeastern Michigan, you always want to beat a team on the west side. So that was my first win as a part of Eastern Michigan football, and that was really just an awesome experience. It was just us. No one was there. It was just us together, band of brothers, like, hey, we're going to go get this done. We don't care what the record shows. We don't care about anything else. And then, of course, getting put on scholarship last year was a huge one for me. Going from a scholarship player to a walk-on, then gaining a scholarship back after 2.5 years of being here. And just having that moment with the whole team is really awesome. And then, of course, Arizona State. The whole experience of just going out there, same kind of deal, band of brothers mentality, and just getting the job done. And then having the performance Samson had was just, it was just like he was running so hard, it made you want to do your job that much better. So I think that was certainly, those 3 for sure would probably be, depending on the day, really.
I know one of Coach Creighton's things that he always wants people to do is be impact men and have that kind of future thoughts in front of them. What is it that you're passionate about away from football? What can people find you doing in the community? What are all things that you want to be involved in?
I think for me, it's just mentoring. So whether that's going back and working with, younger high school players that may be playing at my former, hey, how do I get recruited? Hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? Stuff like that. I think it's really important, no matter, what you do in life, once you become successful, is you got to try to pass that on to people. I think, obviously, looking at different careers and things. And, I was actually talking with Coach Creighton about this. I said, no matter what I do in life, I said, I want to be successful at it. And then I want to pass on the knowledge. So I think just being a mentor for people, be like, hey, don't make a mistake that I made here. Don't do that. Someone might tell you to go down this road. They might think it's good, but don't do that. Do it this way. Do this, do this, do this. And then seeing that growth happen from people, and then they get reward out of it, I think for me is huge, and feeling internally for me, because I just love the fact that I can make someone else's life more successful.
Has that kind of been the fun thing? You look back at the events like Victory Day or going to these community events and being able to put smiles on people's faces?
Yeah, actually, it was really funny. There was a kid I sat in lunch with at high school. His name was Anthony Heft. And Anthony came to Victory Day last year in 2022. We hadn't talked for a while. And he was actually wearing my jersey, my high school jersey, at the event. And that moment right there was like, man, maybe through this football thing, maybe I really actually did make a difference in someone's life. So that was a big, big moment for me, because I was like, you know what, this, I can make a difference, on an interpersonal level.